coming up on the Willis Report. And another big day on Wall Street as investors once again digest earnings. Our expert tells us what this means for your investments. We're on the case next on the Willis Report.
In focus tonight, this shaky earnings season we're in. Not so good news for Apple today. Fourth quarter earnings falling short of Wall Street expectations. Now, Apple, as you know, released its iPad mini earlier this week. The tech giant did beat revenue expectations at $36 billion, but so far this season, many S&P 500 companies are coming up short. Here with more, Wayne Kaufman, Chief Market Analyst for John Thomas Financial. So, Wayne, I want to start with Apple. This is a company that everybody likes to believe in, but they're very good at managing expectations. What went wrong here?
I'm not sure that that much went wrong. They may have some supply problems, but to me, what's the biggest problem with the stock is, I think you just said it, everybody likes Apple, and at a point you get a stock that's over-owned, and institutions all own it. So if you didn't own Apple, throughout all the big news this year, the big run-up to $700, as an investor, what were you waiting for?
Well, let's break this down a little bit, because you know how Wall Street works.
Yeah.
The company sort of lets people know what to expect out of an earnings season. There's a dialogue that goes on, and it becomes very clear to the analysts following the company what you think the expectation is, and that's what you report. And then the market likes the fact that there were no ugly surprises, and your stock goes up. This did not happen with Apple today.
Yeah,
What's going on?
They missed by 8 cents. It would appear they have supply problems. They're having a tough time getting as much out as they have orders for. So we'll see in the coming quarter if they can fix that.
All right. You know, they've got so many new products coming out. You got to think the next quarter is going to be a bang-up quarter, that they're going to do much better.
You'd like to think so, but there's going to be tremendous competition. I think that a lot of people are going to want to see how the how the Microsoft tablet is going to be accepted. If that is a dud, then Apple's really going to have clear sailing on their tablets, and they're still going to have all the phone business. I think the stock will recover. But if the competition in tablets, you got all these mini tablets, you know, you got Amazon's, you got the Nook.
Everybody's got one. Even Toys R Us has a tablet. The problem is who's going to win there. Let's go back to the earnings season for just a second, because we've got a lot of companies that are missing.
Yeah.
Google, GE, IBM, Caterpillar, Microsoft. The list goes on. And I think the real key here that a lot of people aren't paying attention to is missing on the top line. The revenues are not there. Yeah. Some 60% of S&P 500 companies are missing revenue estimates. What do you make of that?
It's bad. It's bad. And the companies that you just named, they're all global bellwethers. These are companies with a footprint around the world in multiple different industries. So it's not like you can point to any one industry. Basic materials has been worse than others, but just general global demand is not great, and that's a bad thing. And when a company...
That tells us the economy itself is not doing that well.
It's the economy itself.
And, you know, I think there's a lot of worries out there about whether the U.S. can grow at any substantial rate as the rest of the world's economies go downhill. What do you say?
That's very obvious. You can't buck a huge trend. The United States does not any longer stand on its own economically. This is not the 1950s or the 1960s.
But it doesn't have to be that way. I mean, I truly believe we're still the world's biggest economy with 5% of the population. We are still an economic giant, and we still can be if we choose to be, and we put the right rules in place.
If we put the right rules in place, if we put the right leadership in place. So I said to you, you know, the last time I was on, I said I could make the case for a super bull market starting not that far down the road. But we have to put the right rules in place, have to have the right policies. That's why, you know, relative to the election, I'm very much in support of Romney, because I think he's number one, the economy, and number one of that is energy policy. And I think President Obama has just proven he's got the wrong energy policy.
Why is energy the key? Because when you look at both of their plans for growing the economy, what you find is that becoming energy independent is point number 1 or 2, depending on which candidate you're looking at.
Well, first of all, I think people don't believe Mr. Obama that really is his agenda. His agenda has been, for example...
That's true, but why is energy so important?
It's the lifeblood of everything that we do. And if we get the cheapest energy costs here, We have tremendous labor. We've got the greatest workforce in the world.
Amen.
Companies from all around the world will put factories here. They'll start opening businesses here, on top of which our own entrepreneurs will, with new leadership in there that's not anti-business, they will decide that they want to get back in the game. Right now, there's so many who are out of the game. Small business job creation, small business creations at the lowest level in 30 years. And that makes no sense.
We got to do better. We got to do better. Absolutely right, Wayne. Thanks for coming on today. Always a pleasure to have you here. Thank you. In tonight's Tech Connect, Apple who? As Wayne just mentioned, it's the message Microsoft is trying to send as it kicked off a campaign today for its newest operating system, that is, Windows 8 and its Surface tablet computer. The device goes on sale tomorrow, as will computers and other tablets running Windows 8. One factor that might dampen enthusiasm for the Surface, it costs almost $600, and it will only be available in a small number of Microsoft stores and online. Plus, the launch comes just days after Apple unveiled its iPad mini, and Amazon and Barnes & Noble are coming out with larger versions of the Kindle Fire and Nook next month. Lots of competition. As for Windows 8, the industry's dominant operating system, many analysts don't expect businesses to hurry to upgrade. About half of business users still haven't upgraded to Windows 7. We'll be right back with my 2 cents more and the answer to our question of the day. How many CEOs have to write a letter before Congress fixes the fiscal cliff? 800, 100, 1,000, or does it matter? Stay with us.